Hey, everybody, it's Cris Chico, and I have an exciting case study today with one of our clients, Brian, who is absolutely killing it with nationwide wholesaling and Facebook ads, and really in a very short period of time. So I asked him to come on and do a quick case study video so he can share his story, share what's working, what worked, what didn't work, trials and tribulations. And really, the intent is for you guys to know and understand what's really required in order to get to that level of success and to start doing deals, and really to inspire you to be able to do that. And so I want to first of all say thank you, Brian, for coming on and really agreeing to share your story. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cris. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I know we got started working with each other just recently, about maybe 45 days ago at that. And you actually own a local business, tattoo shops, right? That you own a couple of them. Is that right?
Right. I own a couple of tattoo shops.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so then now, curious, which I don't think I've ever asked you, is you have business that you have running. What was the interest in doing real estate?
It's been a long interest, actually. I've dabbled in it for 5 or 6 years. I have a few mentors out of California that have done it for 20 plus years.
Right.
And always talk to them about it and kind of try to get them to take me under their wing, and didn't have any success. Would ask questions, but never really got the opportunity to actually get in it. So with my businesses now being at a point where I can step away for a bit, I said, you know what, it's time to jump in. These guys don't have time for me, so I need to find a program, a coaching, something that to where I can learn the things that I need to learn to move forward. And did a little research and came across you. And here we are, like you said, 45 days later. It's going very well.
Obviously, my main method of lead generation is online, right? Were you considering when you were kind of going through your consideration process? Were you considering like other strategies like cold calling and direct mail and that sort of thing, or you already knew that you were kind of trying to do online, or what was
I was considering all avenues because right. Again, both actually of my other mentors out of California. One is very old school, so they were a local market only type of guy where you need to have boots on the ground for right. everywhere and anything that you touch. And that's what information that I was getting from him directly in the beginning. And I didn't like it. Bottom line, I didn't like it. I said, I don't agree. I'm hearing other people doing different things. So I started to look more into the virtual side, which I have another guy who does a large cold calling campaign.
Oh, okay. Cold calling.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you're the other mentor that you were
Correct.
speaking with. Okay. And had you consider going down that route at all in terms of cold calling?
Absolutely did. But again, I was not getting. Bottom line, they're busy and didn't have enough.
Got it.
As you've seen, I'm a pretty like we've talked about before. I'm a pretty impatient guy. I need answers now, so yeah. I wasn't getting answers quick enough from them. So I again went and did some research, and I stumbled across your program, and I thought it was what I needed to get me moving forward. And I said it's worth it to take a shot. Right. I actually took your online course first.
Right. Yeah.
Only did that, started getting stuff set up, but I said, hey, you know what? I want to be able to get answers to questions now.
Right.
And whatnot. So move forward with your intensive program.
So just for context, so right now, I mean, since the time that you got started with the Facebook ads, right, and doing deals, how many? I forgot the number because I know you told me the other day. How many total deals and cash generated? Just to give everybody context.
I have closed five of my 6 deals that I put under contract have funded and closed for a total of 44.5.
44.5. And then the other deal that you have, that one's gonna I guess when it closes in the future, how much is that one?
11. That's at 11.
11. Okay, got it. 11K deal. So let me ask you this, Brian. As we started together, you started getting all these leads, right? And a lot of times, like, you think like you understand like what's coming your way, but then once once things start evolving, then you realize, oh crap, I didn't know this. So my question is, what are the difficulties that you encountered along the way? Like the roadblocks that you felt like, wow, this is a roadblock. And I want to say this because a lot of times, like, people start on a path and they don't realize the roadblocks, and then those stop them and they don't push forward. What would you say would be the hardest things that you had to kind of go through and overcome in order to get to the point where now you're doing all these deals?
So the big thing for me, roadblock, and I think it's still a big one for me, is bottom line is disposition. I'm not having a problem getting deals under contract. It's disposition. Right. It's the buyers list. It's a big thing for me, is having access to buyers.
Got it. And then with the buyers, I know we gave you buyers, right? But correct. It doesn't, and we do the best we can, and some of the deals work, and then some of the other deals don't work out. When you say buyers, meaning say, hey, once you exhaust our list, then now you got to go out and still try and find other buyers. Now, is the difficulty because of time? Do you think that that's the difficulty, or difficulty just that it's just difficult sometimes to find the buyers?
I think it is time, because obviously we're giving that 10 to 14 day inspection period, right, on average on the property. So absolutely, time is definitely of the essence.
What about one of the other things I was talking about when it comes to time is that you're handling both sides of the transaction, both dealing with sellers and dealing with buyers. So also is another difficulty the time, because you got to go find buyers, but you also got this other stuff going on here too as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree, and that's something that I know exactly. And it just, again, coming from a sales background as well, as I always tell my people, don't forget what got you here.
Yeah.
So time is definitely of the essence, because exactly as I'm working these buyers lists, it's taking away from me, again, spending time getting more properties under contract
with the sellers. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go back to that. But one other question that I had is, what about one of the things is that you're dealing with leads all over the country, right? In all the different places. Right. What did you find difficult? Did you find any difficulty in figuring and working through that, figuring out the values and making the right offers?
Oh, absolutely. That's definitely a part of it. Absolutely. Values are going to make a big difference. And do you even have a viable deal there?
Yeah.
Because exactly, some of the properties exactly being nationwide in the middle of nowhere, you got a $40,000 property that needs $30,000 in work. You know what I mean? Obviously there's no deal there. I have a deal still. The lady, I'm still helping her work it in the middle of nowhere. But it's hard to find buyers. And then on top of that, the buyers are having problems with contractors in those areas as well. So even if they are interested, they've got to be able to get contractors there as well.
But now let me ask you this, because our model is nationwide, and like the mentors that you had are more localized, and you kind of see them. Do you feel that every model has its pluses and minuses, right? The negatives with nationwide is you're getting all these leads everywhere, and many times you've never heard of that market before, so you kind of have to figure the stuff out. The benefit is you're getting a lot of leads everywhere, right? Where you have a lot of different opportunities. Would you say that now, kind of knowing, understanding both models, that you'll continue to kind of are you going to continue doing the nationwide? Do you feel that that's still a viable model for you?
Absolutely, 100%.
And why do you feel that way? Why do you feel so strongly about nationwide?
Nationwide, I think it's good, especially for people just getting in the business as well, because exactly, if you try and go in a target market per se, when you're in Los Angeles, there's how much competition. All your bigger metro areas where we would say that the leads, we know the values, we know the market, you've got a ton of competition. So I think, again, my personal opinion, getting in nationwide is a plus, because you're getting leads from areas that are not so saturated with people looking to do this.
Now, with the deals that you had, the 5 deals, were any of those in populated areas?
Yes.
Right.
I got a little bit of both.
Yeah. Because the thing is that when you run ads, you're getting the small markets, but you're still getting in populated areas. In fact, Anissa, this is on our other Slack, she just sold a property in Fort Worth. lead that she was following up with. And so Fort Worth is a populated area, right? It's not a small town by any stretch of the imagination, but when we're doing the lead generation, we're getting leads everywhere. So you get the small town and the big towns. Do you find in terms of any tips, let's say if somebody's listening and they're thinking about analyze, like the difficulty in analyzing properties, any tips that you come off the top of your head in terms of like, if somebody's analyzing a property nationwide, anything that come to your mind in terms of a tip on how to do that effectively without like going down a rabbit hole that takes you forever?
Wow, that's a good question. Damn.
Or where's the 80-20? Like what do you look at right away to at least let you know that, hey, it's a deal or not a deal or worth pursuing, etc.?
What am I looking at? I mean, I'm going obviously what you guys just look at Zillow real quick, just to get some idea, but I'm using the 50% rule
Okay.
on that. On my deals. It's, what I mean, it's just a soft price anchor off of the 50% rule to try and get some idea of where they're at, to see if there even is interest, you know what I mean? Especially now, I feel obviously the spreads are needing to get a little bigger now with everything slowing down.
Right. But now, do you feel like you don't try, and this is because a lot of people do this, is you're not trying to figure out precisely like what the repairs are and all that stuff. You're just trying to figure out if it's, relative to what it's asking on Zillow, getting it at a good price that you feel like, I think there's some meat on the bone. And then that's enough of a criteria typically, right?
Correct.
Right. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Not going down exactly doing all these rehab calculators and kitchen costs as much. And absolutely not. I wouldn't even call it an estimate. I would call it more of a guesstimate.
A guesstimate. Right. Now, what about when you talk to sellers on the phone? So you have you were in sales before, right? Did you find it difficult to get started with? It was like, if you think about all the things you had to kind of overcome, there's talking with sellers, analyzing properties, filling out the paperwork. Would you say because of your past experience that the getting on the phone with the sellers wasn't that big of a deal, or do you still had issues or challenges with that?
I still had challenges just because it's a new product, it's a new script. So it's still scary. It's still nerve-wracking,
right?
Because it's a new product, bottom line. So you got to learn the flow of conversations, how they go in this market, but not.
Is there anything specific that you feel that overall the seller calls that you've done, right? Because you've done a lot now. Anything that you feel that helps you in building rapport with the sellers so that they feel comfortable and feel that, what, maybe this guy, Brian, just might be the guy to help me?
Listening again, I caught myself a few times just trying to get the information and get on so I can go and make an offer. You really need to listen. Again, it's just back to sales 101 is really listening and figuring out what the true why is. What is their sense of urgency? Why are they doing this? And then obviously taking that back to them and reminding them, well, we talked about this. The why is huge, and not trying to hurry the deal.
Got it. Not trying to hurry, because a lot of times, like the hurry the deal, meaning you get on the phone, you just want to get to the price and get right down to the nitty-gritty details, but now you're going too fast.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you make an offer on the first call?
Depends on the call.
Okay.
If I have enough info in a larger market, I feel I know it. I do sometimes we'll go for a one call close.
Got it. And then when it comes, one of the things we talk about is if you're not embarrassed about your offer, then it's too high. How do you, when you're talking with a seller and you're making them an offer that you're kind of embarrassed about it, how do you present that so they don't yell at you and think that you're like a horrible person?
You just present it. Exactly. It's embarrassing. It's, you know what I mean? It is embarrassing, but you got to do it. And I kind of do it indirectly. Okay. And like a soft price anchor, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to make this firm offer. You throw it out there, like you talked about. Hey, well, investors in this area, this is what they're paying for properties like yours.
Got it. And so instead of you telling them, instead of you telling them, hey, I'm making you an offer of X, you're just telling them, hey, here's kind of what I see happening in the area. Is that a price that you would consider?
Correct.
Got it. Okay. And then were you able, with these leads that came in within a matter of a few short days, you were able to get them on the contract, or did it take quite a bit of chasing them in order to get them?
Majority of them, I would say, were pretty quick. I think, especially with these leads in virtual, time is definitely of the essence, because I think it'd be foolish to think that they're filling out my lead generation form and nobody else's. They've probably got 4 or 5 people calling them. So I think pretty quick. And again, obviously we're advertising within 24 hours.
Right.
As well. So time is definitely of the essence, and need to, again, not get ahead of yourself and pushing them per se. That's where I caught myself. Again, I need to slow down and go through the full sales process to build that rapport and get their real whys and whatnot to go back on.
Do you feel with any of these that you had dealt with, were you in competition with somebody else and you had to get the deal for, competing with another investor, or not really?
Ooh, I don't know about any of these that have actually closed, but I know definitely people were straight up, well, I have this offer, well, I have this offer. At that point, I mean, I would say they were offers to where at the point where I was like, well, there's no room, so sorry, I can't.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because
it's a waste of time, bottom line.
Yeah, because you will encounter those people that will tell you, hey, I'm working with another investor and here's what they offered me. What I find is our best deals are people that are we caught them just in the process of trying to figure it out, and they haven't gone really into that search mode. And if you can build rapport with them, make them feel comfortable, then they're going to stop with you and not go and chase somebody else.
Exactly.
Right. With these deals, were you able to, sometimes with these Facebook ads, it depends on the person. I would say, when somebody puts in their information, you have no idea where they are. They could be sitting on the toilet, right? One hand on the phone, the other hand back here. You know what I mean? And then they're like, you call them, they picking up the phone, right? Because it's not the right time. Call people first. You text them. What's your kind of process to get people on the phone? And
I'm calling. Call is key. I do text and email on the second and third day if I'm not getting a hold of anybody, but calling is key, at least 2 to 3 times a day.
2 to 3 times a day to get a hold of them, right? Especially when they first submit their information.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. And do you try to get a hold of them right away as soon as they come in, as close as possible?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I give myself, I get a text message. I have it set up that I get a text message when the leads come in as well. So I give myself a 15-minute window max. If I'm not getting that lead, at least an initial dial to that lead in 15 minutes, I'm not doing my job.
Got it. Okay. Now with these, the ones that you sold and the ones that you closed, right? But you have another one that they have pending. On terms of the buyers for these deals, did the buyers come from us, or did they come from Craigslist, or do you have any like big picture? You don't
All of those buyers came from you guys except one.
Okay, got it. Now the buyers on these, the buyers were all professional investors, right? There were people that were used to dealing with wholesalers, and so they know the game and everything else, right?
Yes.
Right. It's always better. Like, I'd rather sell for a little bit less money, but deal with a professional investor who knows what they're doing, knows the game and everything else, versus a person that has no idea, and then you're wondering, like, if the deal is going to fall through at the end, right?
Correct.
Now, in terms of title companies with these, were you all pretty much, did you go with whatever the title company was that the buyers were using?
Yes.
Okay.
All except one, which is Tough Deal, which is the one that hasn't closed yet.
Okay. And the one that hasn't closed yet, is that presenting, you said that one, except for that one, is that presenting a problem now because you didn't go, is a title company problem or no?
It's an attorney problem. It's in New York, so the attorney state. The attorney, bottom line, it's a small deal. So had a lot of your reputable title companies saying, hey, we won't do an assignment, or 2, the deal was too small. So I got referred to a little hole in the wall attorney, basically.
Interesting.
Who has got all the excuses in the world why it's taken him 6 weeks.
Wow. Okay. And this is in New York State? Is it in New York City, like Bronx?
No, it's actually in Rome, New York. So it's a smaller town in upstate New York.
I never had. I remember I had a client once that was in Queens, and wanted to get his first deal, and and at the time I hadn't dealt with New York. And then every time we got a seller to say yes, the next thing you know, we're like, oh, got to go to my attorney. And then the next thing you know, the attorney's asking for big deposits and contracts and all this other stuff. And then all he did, this, I just told the client, I said, you need to just do, at the time, this was at the time we were doing mailers. So I said, you just need to market to Florida. And within 30 days, he got his first deal in Florida. So I say that because, you know, New York is a tough place to do deals in, right? And even when we do lead generation, we hardly get any leads in like Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York. We hardly get any leads. And when we get a lead, it's like strap on, baby, because these are always difficult.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's weird that you say that because exactly you don't get many. But yesterday, actually, I got a Maine, a Connecticut. There was like I got 2 or 3 that came in yesterday. Other than that, all in the same area. I thought that was pretty crazy because exactly you don't get a lot of leads.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of leads, but they're a pain in the ass. Well. They're a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. Quick on these. So on these here, they were all professional investors. With any of these here, you know, a lot of people talk about, so you get the lead come in, you put the property in the contract. With any of these, did you go out and get any sort of photos taken? Did you get photos from the owner? Did you get a professional to go take photos, or any photos at all?
I did get photos on all of them, whether it was the property owner. One, I sent out an inspector to get photos.
Okay. And so the majority of them, you got them from the owner. Okay. And then the one that you got from a professional photo, is that because the owner didn't live there?
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Who'd you use, by the way?
I could just called a local, because the local realtor, they referred me to an inspector.
Okay, got it.
An actual home inspector, but he was willing to just go out there and take photos for me for $80.
Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah, because a lot of people get hung up on, oh, I don't have any boots on the ground. But many times the seller has a cell phone, so they could just take the photos of it.
Correct.
Were all these properties people living inside, like they were owner occupied?
Other than one, yes, sir.
Other than one. Okay. And what would you say, like, on these deals, was there, and off the top of your head, I realize that you may not remember each of them, but what was the motivation for these people? Like, what is there, like, circumstances that allowed you to get the deal at a discount?
3 of them actually they were contingent on other properties on these funds, so that definitely the motivation was there for funds.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
On other properties.
So they bought something else and they needed to sell this one in order to fund the other one.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Anything else, any other, aside from those situations? So that's interesting, by the way, because that's something that we could use in the marketing. You can say, hey, if you know, because we say if you need the sell the property as is because you don't have repairs, but that's another reason for them selling. Like, now that came up in the conversation you were working with, when you had that conversation with them initially and you're negotiating on price. Those are things that come up. Do you find that then that gives you the ability to use that as part of your selling them on why they should do the deal with you? Like a benefit for them? Like, was that part of the big button that was pressed in order for you to get them to say yes?
Well, absolutely. Yeah. With time being of the essence. Absolutely. Well, then let's get it going. I actually had one in Atlanta that the lady, it was a lead that I had gotten probably 4 weeks earlier. She ghosted me, and she was contingent on another property on a multifamily, and nothing. And then she came back to me, hey, are you still interested in my property? So of course I said, yeah. So exactly, okay, we're down here. I need you to sign this contract so I can exactly move forward with marketing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
And then now this one in Atlanta, had you stopped reaching out to her and she reached out, or you were still continuing?
I had stopped reaching out to her, yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's funny because I always say that, you know, our motivation, like, we're here every day, level 10, I need to buy a house. But somebody fills out the form, but they're like, they might be here because they're dealing with all the problems in their lives and everything else. And at some point, like, your motivation and their motivation sync up. And then now you got the opportunity to do a deal.
Like your insurance.
Yes, exactly. And I was telling Brian about I need to redo my health insurance, but I don't have any problems, right? It's just that the insurance that I have is just kind of crappy and I just want to get a new one. But so the guy's motivation to get me to sign a new policy is here, but every day I'm kind of here, but it's getting closer. He's going to get closer. What about, one of the things we talk about was follow up with these leads here. Well, let me backtrack. So with any of these leads that you did the deal, one of the things that I talk about is finding versus convincing, right? Meaning that you're not going to do a deal with everybody. You just got to find the right situations. Do you feel that with these properties here, like did they already start off at a halfway decent price that then all you had to do was just move it a little bit closer and make it a deal? Or was any one of these like a big swing that, wow, I can't believe I got to the discounted property that much?
Havasu was quite, it started up pretty high. I had a big swing. I want to say they were asking around 6.5. And I had to get them all the way down to 515 to make it a
good deal.
Decent deal, exactly.
Right. But now 515 to 650 relative to the price point is not that much percentage wise, right? Because if you think about it, if you got like $150,000 property, you got to get them into 90 or 85 or something like that. Percentage wise, it just happens to be like, it's at a high number, so the spread has to be bigger, right?
Percentage wise, but you got to look at it from the buyer's perspective. That's cash out of their pocket.
Yeah, so you got to offer them a really good deal.
Correct.
Yeah, got it.
You have to find out why. You know what I mean? What was his motive? Why is he willing to give up this $130,000 that he didn't want to?
Got it. Yeah, because that they're expecting that money, right? You could do a lot. Like if you ask for seller for a $10,000 deduction, 130, like there's a lot you could do with 130, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, percentage wise, not so much, but
yeah,
I mean, net in their pockets, that's a huge swing.
Yeah. Now, what about when I talk about lead follow up? Did you have a struggle with keeping up with the lead flow? Because I know that it starts to stack up, right? 3 leads here, 3 leads there. Next thing you know, it stacks up. Was that something that you had a difficulty with in the beginning?
Absolutely, but not in the beginning, no. But towards the middle, once I started getting deals under contract and then trying to dispo deals and whatnot, absolutely, I started to have new leads stack up just sitting there. So it's definitely, you have to be organized and figure out what is your prioritize your leads. Absolutely.
Now, is there like a particular framework that you would walk into the day thinking, okay, I start the day, I got to tag this first, that second, etc., in order to kind of deal with it? Like, in other words, the buckets are, you got new leads, you got follow-ups, you got deals pending, etc. Like, is there a particular framework that you're following in terms of
I always try and stick by new leads. You obviously want to try and get a hold of somebody ASAP. That should be your
right.
Your first focus of the day. Absolutely. Is anything new, you want to at least try and make contact and get your name in there, whether you get a hold of them or not. Try and get that call back or whatnot.
Yeah, because the online leads go cold fast if you don't get a hold of them quickly.
Correct.
Yeah. What would you say, just off the top of your head, like if you had 10 leads come in, out of those 10 leads, is there a number that you would say, because we can't get a hold of everybody, right? Which is fine. Out of every 10 leads or every 20 leads, how many would you say that you just are not able to get a hold of them and you just say, you know what, forget it, I'm going to go move on because I got more leads to work with?
Leads that I was not able to make contact with.
Yeah.
Well, I would say 25%.
25%. Okay, that's not a bad number. So 2 to 3 out of every 10 leads, 2 out of 3, you're just not able to get a hold of them, but you got more coming, so then you just move on.
Exactly.
Right. I think that also the benefit is because you have so many incoming leads that it's not a big deal because you got more coming tomorrow and more coming the next day, etc. Right?
Correct.
Right. Now, are you still using, we started you off with Trello as a CRM, right?
Correct.
Just to keep things simple. And then now, are you still using Trello? Are you going to progress into something else?
I am not. I'm using Go High Level, which is the same as REI. REI is a white label of Go High Level.
Yeah, REI. I think it's REI Reply.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I think you went with Go High Level because you have somebody that can help you with it, right?
Correct. My marketing guy actually he uses it, and that's what he set me up on.
Got it.
So all my leads are coming straight into Go High Level.
So we set you up initially with Trello just to keep things simple. No focus on tech, just focus on calling sellers, etc. Now, as you bring in the CRM, right, whether it be High Level or somebody else, but now with this new CRM, what improvements have you found now? Because now you're using a real CRM.
I'm not a tech guy at all, so there's not a lot of improvement for me, to be completely honest. It can do anything and everything. But I mean, it's got drip campaigns, SMS, email, all that stuff, click to dial.
Yeah.
All that good stuff built in. I'm not very good at it. But it does have all that stuff, and it helps, absolutely.
But I think to a certain extent, the fact that you're not tech savvy was a good thing, because all you could focus on was just talking to the people, right?
No, absolutely. And it's what works best. Absolutely. Right. All that stuff, the drip and whatnot. I mean, it might bring in a deal here or there.
Yeah.
But exactly. I mean, picking up the phone and calling, I believe call it old school. It's what needs to be done. It's what's most effective.
Right. 100%. I mean, the business is a people business. It's a human contact business. And people say that, oh, if I put this automated sequence in place, and like, the number of deals you're going to get from that. Every so often you see a post on Facebook, oh, I did this $20,000 deal from a seller that I was following up for 2 years. And everybody holds that up and say, oh my gosh, I need this automation. But that's every once in a while. At the end, it's the phone.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, how is a machine exactly going to convince somebody to give up $200,000 in equity?
Right.
Versus a text message versus you. Again, you need to get them to figure out their motivation, their why.
Now, with you,
perspective for them.
Yeah, because you need somebody to. I think that's the biggest problem, and I think sometimes the way things are sold cause that problem, because people think, oh, I got this automated thing that's just going to pump out deals. But it is, I mean, you would have to agree that this, like, in other words, it's simple, but it's not easy. Like, it's a car. You put the key in the ignition, you put it on drive, and it goes every morning. But if you look underneath the hood, there's a lot of stuff happening. So even though, it's simple, leads come in, you talk to them, and you put them on the contract, there is a lot of work you had to do, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How many? I know that you have another business, and that's kind of running. You have people running it, etc. But just for clarity's sake, how many hours a day would you say you were working in the first when the program just started? To get to these results, how many hours a week were you putting in?
A week, 60 plus.
60 plus, right? Yeah,
absolutely, at least.
Especially in the beginning, because everything is new, right? And you're learning.
You're making mistakes. Exactly. You gotta get organized, what works best and what time frame. You screw it up 3 times over to get it right. So absolutely.
And I think that's important, because people may see the result and say, oh my God, he got 6 deals and in a short period of time. And they might think, oh, I could just spend a couple hours a day and I'll have the same result. And it's like, oh no, that's not going to happen. Right.
You get out what you put in, bottom line.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously now things are different. Like now there's things that you have to process in the beginning that you're spending less time on. Like, for example, analyzing properties. I know we went back and forth on quite a few properties, right? Many properties. And then you were learning, but then now it's better. So now there's less time that you have to spend on that, right? Because now you know that system better. Absolutely. So now it's getting a little bit easier, right?
Absolutely. You're like, hey, you know what? This is not a deal. I'm nowhere near. Let me move on. As opposed to trying to make it something a deal that's not. That's what I caught myself doing a lot in the beginning. The numbers are there, but trying to justify, well, no, this, that, and the other. If it's not a deal, just move on. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah. Now, did you have because one of the things that sometimes people put everybody on follow-up, right? So they have this list of 50, 60 people that they have to follow up with. And one of my old mentors said, hey, if I ask you how many hot leads you had and you told me you have 40 hot leads, he's like, no, you don't have 40 hot leads. You have maybe 5 hot leads, and they're buried inside the 40 that you'll never find. Do you find that the majority of the time you're spending on going after the new leads and very small amount on follow-ups, or how would you gauge that?
Correct. Yeah, I agree. I don't say anything. I don't hardly put anything in bad lead. I put a lot in future leads.
Got it.
When it slows down and it's a slow time and you say, oh, I don't have any leads. Go call those back.
Got it.
But no, I don't. Like you said, you got more leads coming in. You don't want to waste your time chasing deals.
Got it. Now you're not going to go and try to do now do you experience the incoming leads? You're still not going to try to do cold calling, right?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So then now I know we talked about right before we hit the record button. So now your next stage is you're going to be you're building a team. So you just hired an acquisitions person. And you did that fairly quickly. And so I want to ask you about that because you went from not doing your first deal to, about 45-ish days later, you've got all these deals that you close. You got this lead flow, right? So you have the capability of bringing leads. What made you decide most people wait longer, but you did it faster? What was the thinking process for you to decide, you know what, I gotta do this now. I gotta get other people involved.
Bottom line, I felt exactly like I said before, I was having to decide, do I try and dispo this deal or am I calling new leads and stuff is backing up?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at, again, big picture here, growing my business, expanding my marketing budget. But I said, hey, why am I expanding my marketing budget if I cannot even handle the lead flow that I have now?
Yeah.
So again, I need to take myself and take some of those tasks and hand them off to somebody else, and again grow a team, someone who sees the bigger picture. Because I could sit here, but like I said, I work 60 hours plus a week. Why not bring somebody in,
right,
to help change somebody else's life as well? I'm not greedy. Making good money. Why not again bring somebody else in, take some of that load off of myself, and again change somebody else's life at the same time?
Yeah, and I think we talked about this a little bit before the call, in that you're growing your opportunity so that other people could achieve their opportunity inside their opportunity, right?
Correct.
Which is similar to what I did, right? Because I grew my opportunity so I could help train people, that then you came on board and I helped you, and then now you're going to help somebody else. So kind of just continues to trickle down from there.
Trickle down, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, what would you say? One question that I have for you is that a lot of people, when they're trying to decide, I think for you, they're trying to decide, do I go out and get help? Because there's people that just says, hey, I don't want any help. I just gonna go on YouTube and try it all myself, right? And some people, was there any particular for you? I think it sounds like you just wanted the ability to get hands-on help, and you just didn't want to do it, try to figure it out on your own. Is that why you went that route?
Absolutely. I'm not analytical at all. What would be a good way? Exactly. I don't want to sit there and spend time doing a bunch of research. I want, hey, show me, let me watch you do it.
Yeah.
See you do it. Okay, now let me do it.
Got it.
So absolutely, that again, that's why I chose to take the course, because it's very hands-on, and you're there to answer questions. Like I said, I had other mentors prior for the past 5 years where I've tried to get stuff done and I've got absolutely nothing done in those 5 years, just because people, not for the lack of them caring, but just because they're too busy.
Yeah.
So your program again enabled me to have answers to what I needed answered at that time to move forward.
Yeah, and the big thanks, they're not here with me, but obviously big thanks to Anissa and Jean on the team, because they were instrumental. They're with you they were there on the field killing zombies with you, right?
Day and night.
Day and night. If somebody, hey, wanted help from us and they were kind of on the fence about it, whether or not, hey, they should do it or not do it, what would you recommend the program?
100%. Absolutely. It's scary, guys. I was scared too. It's by no means cheap, but again, I think you got to look at back to, I'm sure everybody's heard it, you pay for what you get, bottom line.
Well, I want to say, first of all,
small investment.
It's a small investment relative to the, now you made your money back, and we talked about that.
And
You
then
know,
some,
our objective is we want to help you make your investment back, and now you're whole and plus, right? Because you got the knowledge and you got the money back, so that's always a good thing. But you know, I did want to say, you know, just it goes both ways, right? Because number one is you trusted me and you trusted us to help you with this. So there's a obligation that comes from that, right? You know, we don't take it lightly. I always say that it's never somebody's credit card on the line. Like, it's easy to see, oh, just a swipe of the card. You had goals, you have aspirations, you have things that you want to do in your life that if this were to work, then that would help you. So we take, you know, I look at it as a responsibility. So, and number one, number two, but also thank you for, you know, allowing me, trusting in me to help you with that. And I also think of it as it's a blessing both ways, right? Because I help you, but at the same time, by you, your success helps and motivate us to say, hey, we want to do more. Like, you know, it's fulfilling for us, right, to be able to do that. So, you know, you're in Texas right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I would say at some point we'll have a chance to meet in person, and it won't. Hopefully, it won't ruin everything. You're like, oh, this guy Chico is better on Zoom, but man, when you see him in person, he's not that great.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a chance to drink some tequila together.
We talked about that 1942. Absolutely.
Yes, that's right. I got to get that. I still haven't got that. I got some new tequila at the house. People keep on bringing, but I don't have a 1942 yet. I got to go get that one. But really, just I'm very happy for you. Excited because now you know you have a different trajectory, and now you've got, you know, what's your goal right now between, let's say, now and the end of the year?
Our goal and end of the year is to do another 400,000.
Another 400,000.
Yes, sir.
And I have, listen, in a short period of time, you did what you did. You're expanding the team, right? You have a great methodology for lead flow. And so I'd say that we got to have you back. Back here for a second interview.
Accountability interview. Absolutely. Huh? Accountability interview.
Accountability interview. What'd be great is somehow we did the next interview in person. That would be great.
Sounds good, sir.
Yeah, but appreciate it. For those of you that are interested in learning more about nationwide wholesaling, there's going to be a video that's going to pop up right here, somewhere here. Click on that video. It details step by step my entire process for nationwide wholesaling. And again, if there's anything that we can do to help, there's always links in the description that you can get additional help. And again, I also am going to put Brian's information here as well, so that if you guys wanted to reach out to Brian, maybe have some deals that you need some help with or whatever, just or give him a say hello and say, hey, really enjoyed that interview. Thanks for sharing your story. So do that. But otherwise, click one of these videos, and I'll see you in the next one.
Sounds good. Thank you, Cris. It was a pleasure.